I'm Andy Walker, I'm Commercial Director for McLaren Applied Technologies. Yeah, so innovation in healthcare is a really important area for McLaren Applied Technologies. So we try and take technology and expertise from Formula One and automotive, and increasingly that we've built up over the years in serving other industries, and really cross-pollinate that into other industries to try and create breakthroughs in performance through the application of advanced technology and design. So particularly in healthcare, we think there's a real intersection between our skills in simulation and modelling and predictive analytics, and we think we can really bring benefits to bear in the healthcare industry with those in a number of different areas. Yeah, so I think we're always really interested in how different industries can cross-fertilise each other. So in the same way as we believe we're making contributions to healthcare and co-creating and collaborating with other players in that space, it's very interesting to us to see other players around the edges of that who think they might be able to do the same. Because from our perspective, actually, we're very interested in taking solutions to market that don't just take our technology and expertise, but also take other technology and expertise from the marketplace. Yeah, so really it stems from our work in Formula One. So in Formula One, it's incredibly important that we can make the most of the data that we collect. That's both to make sure that the cars perform as well as possible over the course of a race weekend, but equally over the course of a season as we develop the car, and that helps us innovate. So I think as an industry, we've probably been collecting more data at higher rates for longer than really anybody else, and have therefore learned a lot about processing that data and making the most out of it. So it's about getting the insight from the data more than the data itself. So when we look into healthcare and look into other industries, we see industries that perhaps are less further along in their journey of understanding how to get insight out of data, and we think we can make a valuable contribution in that area. So we deal in anything from sporting situations, so high performance sports people trying to get the most out of themselves, through to patients who are looking to successfully follow a weight management program, through to executives looking to be at their best for meetings in the future. But I think a large part of what we do is actually in the pharmaceutical industry. So an example there with GlaxoSmithKline would be in clinical studies today. The data that is gathered from patients is first of all only gathered during the study visit, so it's maybe once a month or something like that during the duration of a study. And secondly, some of the data can be quite subjective about how the patient feels. It's all done through questionnaires and so on. So we did a study recently with GlaxoSmithKline on patients who were taking a medicine for stroke. So they were trying to recover from stroke. And GSK were interested in understanding how well they were recovering from stroke and to get more data to help them to do that. And so what we did is we put a sensor on the back of the neck of each of the patients, and they wore that for a few days after each study visit, so we were able to monitor their movement and understand how much time they were spent sitting, standing, lying down, and how many transitions they were making from each of those things to the other. And that's really given GSK a lot more insight about how their medicine is working and how people are recovering from the disease. And I think we'll see a lot more of that across other diseases. Well, I think it's easy to come to a conference like this and really think about technology, and everybody gets very, very excited about technology from over here and technology from over there, that when you put it together makes a really interesting other technology solution. I think from our perspective, I've talked about the fact that insight is really important rather than the data itself, so that's the first thing. But I think the second thing is that nobody really thinks about the adoption of the technology, or that's something that really needs to be thought about. So from our perspective, we're just as interested in working with people who really understand the healthcare system, really understand what patients need, really understand how data can help in those situations, rather than purely focusing on the technology. So I think thinking about adoption and patient pathways and how it gets embedded in the current healthcare processes is just as important as the technology itself.